Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatham to the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Latham Shem Yahshua to the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer Aaron with the I.S.U.P.K under Command of General Yohanna. We teach that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. Today I'm going to speak to you about the seriousness of being a sinner. This is something in our communities, and Blacks, Hispanics, and Natives have not taken serious at all. And this is a life or death situation. Every day we're getting closer and closer to Yahweh Shah returning, and you don't want to be caught up in a bad spot being a sinner when he shows up. He just might say, I never knew you. And that's the worst thing that can happen to you, is for him to say, depart from me, for I never knew you, paraphrasing. So we're going to get into some scriptures talking about the seriousness of sin, because, again, the Christian church doesn't think it's no big deal. They don't think it's a big deal that you're a sinner. We sin, but through Christ, we're good. Because you can just keep on sinning, and Christ never does anything. It's no big deal. You're not doing anything wrong, basically. It could just be wiped clean, because, you can sin all the way to your death, and it's just wiped clean. So what's the point then? What's the point of living for Christ if you can't even, if you can't become what he says to become, and that's a perfect man or woman? And he wouldn't tell you that if you couldn't be perfect. Perfect means follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Follow them to a T. Tend the Passover. Go to all the worship all the high holy days. Love your brother like you love yourself. Love the Most High with all your heart. And if you do those, things, you'll be able to follow the law. You know what I mean? Put down the shrimp. Put down all the, nasty, disgusting creatures that you done cooked up on the grill, pork and all that other stuff. Put all that down. You can, there's alternatives to all of that food. There's beef ribs, there's chicken, sausage, there's all kinds of things. You don't have to eat pork. You only eat pork because your oppressor told you to eat pork. So you follow him. So at the end of the day, you're going to be a sinner and you're going to be destroyed. The oppressor's already, you got to remember Esau, which is the white man, or any of these heathens, they don't follow the Most High. They got their own gods, and they, their gods suit them because they're heathens. So they got a heathen God. Our God tells us to do something, we got to do it. And you can't worry about following behind them. We have our own set of laws that we need to follow. And unfortunately, we done went down a rabbit hole. Now our children's is so sinful. We don't even teach them not to sin. The first thing you do is put a birthday cake in front of their face at 1 year old. Then you got them celebrating Christmas and all the other terrible holidays that are just disgusting. And you just got to maybe come into the I.S.U.P.K and become a weirdo, and be different than everybody else on the face of the earth. Be peculiar, like the Most High calls us. Be holy. Slakia, that's the word. I don't want all around holy. Be holy. Be separate, set apart from all these other nations of people. We got our own God. You should be proud and happy to have your own God instead of following behind somebody else's God. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to follow behind white Jesus, who tells you, you could just sin, unlimited amount of sin, and you could just love everybody, and you love your enemy. When he said love your enemy, see, the white Jesus tell you love your enemy, he means love him. See, that's what he means. He don't mean love your brother Tyrone. He wants you to hate Tyrone, but he wants you to love Esau. So he wants you to love, the Arab or whoever. This a heathen, but at the end of the day, we become destroyed because we loving them, but don't nobody love us. They say they love us, you know what I'm saying? But don't trimmeth your ways, to try to fit in, with a society who hates your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go over a couple scriptures. We're going to start with 1 John 3 and verse 4. And it reads, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. So if you commit sin, you transgress the law. Simple and plain, New Testament for the Christians. Okay? So there is a law in place. So if you sin, you're breaking the law. For sin is the transgression of the law. So you can't say that the law is done away with. Then they say there's a new law, but they don't never tell you it's the same thing. It's just, they act like that all the old law in the Old Testament has been wiped away and now you can do anything you want, which is so far. And they never can really tell you the new law, like what it is. They just always got to say, well, the old law is done away with. So nobody punishes you or nothing. There's nothing. You can just keep sinning and you get no punishment for it. Or they don't care, I guess. I don't know. Verse 4. Verse 5. And ye know that he was manifested to take away our sins. That's Christ was manifested to take away our sins. And in him is no sin. So there's no sin in Christ. Whosoever abideth in him sinneth not. Whosoever sinneth have not seen him, neither known him. So if you're a sinner, you don't know Christ. You know what I'm saying? Simple and plain. Now you can shout that Christ, Jesus, how y'all do. But that don't mean you know him. That's just lip service. We just talking. Verse 7. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. That don't mean be right, try to be righteous sometimes, and the rest of the day you smoking weed. You do one good deed, you think it's a good deed. You walk old lady across the street, and then you rolling up. Next thing you know, you rolling up smoking weed, and you think you're a good person. I get it, because you ain't hit the lady. You didn't hit the old lady upside the head and take her purse. You actually helped her across the street. But then on the flip side, you smoking weed, trying to, have sex with women that, most of these men are so wicked. They'll have a sex with women they don't even know. If she's going to throw it off, they're going to take it. You know what I mean? That's wicked as hell. You don't know her. Some of these sisters, man, they stay wicked. You better be careful who you lay down with nowadays. Any day. Verse 8. He that committeth sin is of the devil. Read that again. He that committeth sin is of the devil. So if you sin, these words, if you sin, you're of the devil, man. So what we doing? Are you, because Christians say, I am a sinner. That's the first thing they say. I am a sinner. For the devil sinneth from the beginning. It was the beginning. Genesis, from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of God was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. And he will destroy the works. If you follow, Christ got the blueprint. So all you got to do is follow Christ, and you'll be able to defeat any lust, all that, anything you got that's really, you have a hard time kicking. Just follow Christ. Verse 9. Whosoever is born of God doeth not committeth sin. A lot of us was, in the world before this, and, we was hell on wheels. But once you're born into this truth, you know what I mean? You're not going to be a sinner anymore, because you're going to be taught not to sin. Okay. That's the main thing around here in the I.S.U.P.K. Do not sin. You could be mad, but don't sin. Salakia. So whosoever is born of God doeth not committeth sin. For his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin, because he is born of God. Verse 10. In this the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil, whosoever doeth not righteousness and not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. That's another thing. You got to love your brother. You know what I mean? You love your brother like you love yourself. You don't do your brother wrong. I don't mean your brother that you're the same. Y'all got the same mom. You know what I mean? I tell brother every now and then, I say, man, that's your brother over there. He say, that ain't my brother. That's hurtful, man. I say, man, I had to shake my head, put my head down. He said it wasn't another black man. You know what I mean? He look at him and say, that ain't my brother. I know a lot of people like that who has said stuff like that, especially when they get upset. That ain't my name, my brother. You know, just because a brother, you know, I've been done dirty by, you know, brothers and sisters. That don't make them not my brother or sister at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes people just don't know, man. That's what the I.S.U.P.K is here for, to wake y'all up. You know, you still got to love your brother. Now, I ain't saying be no sucker for him, you know what I'm saying, or no sister, but, you know what I mean? I don't mean, you know, just you'd be taking advantage of him, but I'm just saying you ain't allowed to hate him for no reason. Or you know, if he did something to you, a lot of these people don't even know the law of, you know, when somebody does something, a trespass against you, you know what I'm saying? They don't know that he's supposed to, or you supposed to go to him, or he's supposed to, you know what I mean? They don't know that. They ain't nobody learned these scriptures. I didn't know it before I got in the truth. I didn't know you were supposed to go to a brother by himself and tell him what he did. And, you know, if he say, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't know you felt this way about it, or sorry, it'll never happen again. And then you got a brother. I didn't know that. I didn't know if you go to a brother and he don't say, he might say, man, I don't care what you think, man. What you gonna do about it? I didn't know you go to get another one and try as a witness and try to mend it, and then go in front of the congregation. And I didn't know none of that. You know what I mean? If he don't say sorry at that point, he apologized and Salakia, it's time to go to the next. There's levels to it. There's ways to resolve issues between us, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's not just, oh, he said this, oh, I'm never speaking to him ever again. And if he says something to me wrong, I'm gonna beat the hell out of him. That ain't how our system is set up, or our laws, statutes, commandments are set up, where there's steps you go through before you automatically consider a brother or sister a heathen. You know what I mean? So, all right, Salakia. Verse 10, in this the children of God are manifest, and the children of the devil, whoso doeth not righteousness is not of God, neither he that loveth not his brother. Verse 11, for this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Verse 12, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. See, that's like that happens every day. You be jealous of your own brother or sister. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about blood brother and sister. Like you could be jealous of them. But in this case, Cain, you know, he killed his brother because he wanted to serve the mother. This happens a lot. You'll hate your brother and sister because you got, especially us in I.S.U.P.K, we serve the Most High. So Christians hate that. They hate that there's somebody out there, there's people out there who actually do what the Lord say to do. And I've heard Christians say, oh, he thinks he's more righteous than thou. Or they got all these little phrases. They hate for somebody to be righteous, because they know they wicked as hell. They ain't gonna say I'm wicked as hell. Nobody says that. I ain't never heard a Christian say, well, I'm just a wicked ass nigga or wicked ass broad. But at the end of the day, they know they are, and they use the Nobody's perfect. Who are you to say anything to me? Oh, you think you're better than they think. But meanwhile, we could all be righteous. You just got to want to do it. You got to fear the Most High. If you don't fear the Most High, then when Ray gets murdered and he was basically terrorizing the damn block, selling drugs to his mother, doing all kinds of stuff, having sex with anybody he want to have, terrorizing the block. When he dies, because he will, usually judgment comes to him, on the obituary, he got the Christians put wings on his back. Like he done did all this evil, all this wickedness. And on the obituary, when he passes away, there's wings on his back. Like he done turned into a damn angel. Salakia. It's just like, it just always goes back to, when the pastors being so soft and want to just teach people, the smooth things. They don't want to say, look, this nigga going to be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? He didn't terrorize. They don't say that. They don't say that. They don't say that he lived a life of sin, and Lord be with that brother, because he was hell on wheels. They don't say that. The mother don't say it. The father don't say it. Pastor ain't gonna say it. Everybody got wings when he died. Salakia. All right, Salakia, we're gonna go to let's go to verse. Where did I leave off at? Verse 13. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. That's brothers, righteous brothers. Don't be amazed if the world hate you. They're going to hate you if you follow Christ. You know what I mean? The world's going to hate you. Because you're going to do a whole 180, and you're going to, one way you used to be, when you get in the truth, you'll change. You won't even recognize your own damn self. You know what I mean? I ain't bragging or nothing. I would never want to brag on myself, but I don't recognize myself. I sometimes, do something. I shock myself. But then the longer you're in the truth, the easier it is to do. And it's really not hard, man. You gotta fear the Most High first. And that's when you can get some damn knowledge. If you don't fear him, you ain't gonna never get nothing, because you're just gonna always have a reason to be sinful and think it's no big deal. You'll be about to rob a bank, or rob a nigga on the street. You'll say a prayer first. Or the strippers, don't the strippers say a prayer first before they strip? Yeah, they hold hands in a circle. Please give us the money. You know what I mean? We wanted the best night we ever had. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna shake it, and then they say in Jesus' name, good night. Verse 14. We know that we have passed from death unto life, and we went from dead. We was like, I was walking around, and a lot of brothers in the we was dead. Christians walk around, they're just dry bones. You know what I mean? And not until you come into the truth, you don't get life until you come into the truth. We know that we have passed from death unto life, because we love the brethren. He that loveth not his brother abideth in death. So if you don't love your brother, you don't leave the house, man. You don't love your brother, man. You living in death. You know what I mean? Verse 15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer. Good night. And ye know that no murderer have eternal life abiding in him. That's rough. Verse 16. Hereby perceive we the love of Salakia. Verse 16. Hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. So Christ laid his life down for us. So it's our job to lay your life down for the brothers and sisters that are in our nation, which is Israelites, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And like Christ said, there's no better friend than a man who lays his life down for his friends. And that's paraphrasing Slakia. So, and then we'll skip down to, let's see. Yeah, let's skip down to 18. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. So don't just say you love somebody. Everybody does that. Kids do it to their parents. Men do it to their wives. Wives do it to their husbands. Brothers on the street. Everybody say they love each other. Nobody say they hate each other. But don't just talk it. Be about it. You know what I mean? Do a food drive. Do a clothing drive. Help people, at the grocery store. I'm not saying just be soft, just running around. But I'm just saying if a brother need help, help a brother. It ain't going to hurt you. The Lord always he see everything you do. So let's skip out of there and go to Ecclesiasticus 12. Is it cuss? Yeah, Ecclesiasticus cuss. We're going to go to Ecclesiasticus 12 and 6. For the Most High hateth sinners. Verse 6. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. This is, I don't know what else you want to hear, but it's very serious to not be a sinner. I know they didn't downplay it in the Christian church, and you can do whatever you want, but you cannot. It's all through the Bible talks about being sinful, not to sin. And there's laws and there's penalties for being a sinner. You know what I mean? Let me see if this is here. Ecclesiasticus. Verse 6. Slakia. Verse 7, give unto the good and help not the sinner. Why is the scriptures always talking about the sinner? The sinner. Don't do this to the sinner. Be like this. So don't worry about the sinner being a sinner because the Lord going to catch up with him and blah, blah. All this, if sinning was so great, it was not a big deal, it wouldn't be in these scriptures like it is. Okay. Let's go back to Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 13 and 21. Evil pursueth sinners. Evil pursueth sinners, but to the righteous good shall be repaid. So right there, another scripture about the seriousness of sin. You can't just walk around being a sinner. And if you are, you should want to change your life. And the I.S.U.P.K under Commander General Yohanna will teach you how not to be a sinner. Okay? Let's go to Ecclesiastes. This is more. I'm gonna give you more work on not being a sinner and being a sinner. Let's go to 9 and 18. Chapter 9, verse 18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. So at the end of the day, there could be 10 guys together or 10 women together, and if one of them is sinning, it can mess up the whole thing. Y'all all have to be on one accord, one mind, one body. There's been stories in the scripture about one person sinning. Solomon, he didn't got weak and he started sinning. And look what happened to our nation. It got split in two. That's just from one man's sin, sleeping with heathen women and doing all that type of thing like that. So it's not a light thing to be a sinner. And that's the last thing I want to be. I don't want to be looked at as no damn sinner. All right. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy. We're going to break. I'm going to run past these real kind of fast because this is really 28 chapters are all talking about, what the Most High is going to do if you are a sinner and what he's going to do if you're not a sinner. So we're just going to break some of these down real quick. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28. 28, and we'll start at 15 just to get some context. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So we're going to skip through them, but I'm just trying to get some of the, they're all important, but just some of the ones that can relate to a lot of us as of right now. We'll drop down to 28 and 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set up over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shall thou serve other gods, wood and stone. So that's what what happened to us. We brought to a nation that we ain't known. Shalaki. And what we serving? The majority of us is serving wood and stone. Wood, Christianity, that's the cross and all that was Christianity. And the stone, what is that? That's Islam. That's what most of us are serving. That's a curse. That's right here. That's Deuteronomy 28:36. That's a curse that's been put on us from being sinners. Okay, let's go to 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all the nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. What do they call us? Nigger, spick, wetback, all these different little red skin. They didn't gave us all these names. You know what I mean? That's a proverb, that's a byword, a proverb and a byword. That's what that's what these nations call us. The whole world knows this as this, even though we're Israelites. And we have tribe, like they done changed us from Mexican, from Issachar to Mexican, from Judah to African American. That's what the oppressor does to you, because you didn't sin against the Most High. Now he didn't put us into slavery. All right, let's go to 43. Drop down to 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. How does a stranger get very high on you? Well, you don't have any stores in your own neighborhood. You go walk down the street. You go down there. You want to get two things. You might need some butter and something else. You got to walk in and buy from a heathen. Almost guarantee. I don't even know of any black owners of corner stores, gas stations anymore. It's over. They done took over. They got the Dunkin' Donuts. They got the goddamn. They selling pizza. You walk in and the Arabs and the East Indians are selling pizza. Now, I don't get it wrong. Esau used to have a pretty good pizza. But now, shit, he done moved on to bigger and better things. And now the other heathens is in there giving us pizza. And it's garbage. It's trash food. You know what I mean? And a lot of the time, they don't even make no fresh pizza. They putting it in a damn on a conveyor belt and sending it through and heating it up. It's just something for the slaves to eat. You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, so that's how a stranger gets a bus. One way. Let's go to 44. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. What is that? Remember the payday loans, and even if you walk in the bank and get a loan, you're not getting it from another Israelite. You're getting it from Esau, usually Esau. So you got to go to the white man to get money. You know what I mean? To get clothing, whatever you want, you got to go to them. You can't go to your own people. That's a curse in these scriptures. And he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, which we are destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So you didn't listen to the Most High and keep his commandments. We don't keep any of his commandments. Just you think because you didn't kill nobody or you don't steal that you're a good person. There's more to it. Okay. And then it says, and his statutes which he commanded thee. Verse 46, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So the curses will be on you. Your children's children. Every time you have a baby, have a kid, he just know he's gonna be cursed if he's not born into this truth. Automatically he's going as soon as he turn on it. Well, now I don't know if people watch TV as much, but everything is brainwashed into him serving the heathen. And he's gonna be taught about everybody else except for his own heritage, his own, like nobody's gonna teach him about Solomon or Adam or Christ. Ain't nobody they're gonna teach him the white Jesus, Caesar Borgia. They ain't gonna teach him Yahweh Shah. They're not gonna teach him any child, they're not gonna teach a baby anything that's gonna help him in his life. Is only gonna make him a slave and under other nations. Unless you're born in the I.S.U.P.K, then you're on your way, buddy. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's rough out here being, living without this truth, man. I can't even imagine people, how they even making it, because there's some things you go through. If you ain't got the truth, man, you just going, you're going to be wicked as hell. You know what I mean? And you'll think that you're right. And you're justified in your wickedness because of what happened to you or something like that. But let's skip down to 48. Therefore shall you serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. So the Most High send the enemies on you. And what we do, we serve our enemies right now. We don't know what to celebrate. We think everything we do is as soon as a white man say, well, you gotta celebrate. We celebrating this. 100 niggas in line trying to buy something for Christmas or New Year's or whatever. Because why? Not because the Most High said it. He ain't say, Most High didn't say celebrate Christmas. Most High didn't say celebrate New Year's. Why? Because your oppressor told you to do it. That's how it goes. Every time you look up, there's a jingle, a birthday, something to celebrate that has nothing to do with the Most High. And unfortunately, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians don't care. But I want you to care. I want you to start caring about being a sinner and not being a sinner. We can turn this thing around if we collectively get ourselves, well, first of all, you have to come into the truth. First thing you got to realize is the white man is the devil, the Bible speaks of. Then once you're on your way, if you understand that, you're on your way. Everything else will fall in place. Let's skip down to 40. Let's finish 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Isn't that what he done? Put a yoke upon our neck until we've been destroyed. And still to this day, you got a spiritual yoke around your neck. That Christianity and that Islam, that's at the end of the day, that's a yoke because you don't know the truth, so you'll go in any direction they push you in. You know what I mean? I feel bad for maybe like if Christ don't return, like maybe like 30, 40 years from now, what's going to be what's this world going to be like? You know what I'm saying? It's getting worse by the day. It's bad. So let's skip down to let's go to 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, and a nation whose tongue you shall not understand. That's America. He didn't brought what it says, swift as the eagle flieth. That's the eagle is the mascot for the United States. So that's what happened. He brought them against us. The Lord brought the nation against us, America against us, and then put us into slavery, and we had to learn English. That's a tongue that shall not understand. So we don't even know how to speak it. Most of us don't even know how to speak Hebrew, and that's our language. But So now we just like lost, and we accept it. I don't understand that. You don't even want to know who you are. You just think people tell you you're African. I mean, there's 50 countries in Africa. Which one are you talking about? You know what I mean? We're not Africans. So just because they get you off the coast or the west coast of Africa, that don't mean we're Africans. If they would have got us from Europe, are we would be Europeans? No. It's all about your bloodline. That determines who you are as a people, not what land you're on. You know what I mean? Salakia. Let's go to verse 50. A nation of fierce continents which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. That's us. You know, Esau don't care about if you young or old. I seen him put 7-year-olds, put the cuffs on a 7-year-old and put him in the back of a squad car. The grandma, he pulls the grandma out of the car. She's 65, 80, 75 years old, pulls her out the car. I seen her and put her on her chest like she's 35 years old. And like a 35-year-old man, like she committed this big crime. So they don't care if you're young or old. Even when we was picking cotton, as soon as you're able to probably stand up, they threw you out in the field. You're gonna pick some cotton, and you die in the field at 85, years old. So they don't care. Verse 54. We're just skipping down. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. That happens today. We hate each other. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we really don't have the best relationship as we used to have with each other. It's like getting worse and worse. All we talk about is sinning against each other. You know what I mean? His eyes shall be evil toward his brother and towards the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. What does that say? That shows what? The man hate his woman, can't stand the kids, and say, deuces, I'm out of here. I'm tired of this. You know what I'm saying? That happens. That happens all the time. People, man, walk out on the family instead of correcting them because he don't have the right knowledge to correct his family and show them how to live a righteous life. So he can't take it. He say, I'm out of here. I can't stand none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Verse 56. Now, 56, this is the flip side. This is the woman, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the soul of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. She wouldn't even put the sole of her, back in the day, she wouldn't even put the sole of her feet on the ground. Good night. Our women hard now. And it says, her eye shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom and towards her son and towards her daughter. And that's how a lot of our women have turned. They can't stand a man. Kids is getting all the damn nerves, and they can't, they just don't even want to deal with it no more. They want to be, they want to have, hot girl summer, and they just want to be free, I guess, of being some women ain't built to be a wife. I don't even know why they even had kids. You know what I mean? So we're just skipping down. We're going to go to 60. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. So the Most High is going to bring diseases to you in this place, all diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of. So you was afraid. You didn't want to catch that. He's going to bring it to America. And they shall cleave upon unto thee. Salakia. Verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law. So there's stuff that there's some things that the Most High has for us that ain't even in the Bible. It ain't even in there. You say, well, where'd that come from? Most High. Them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. That was verse 61. And, to top it off, the worst thing that could happen to a nation of people who just can't get it right is verse 68. And it reads, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Egypt just means bondage. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemy for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. That's what happened to us. We got put on ships. Africans sold us, which the Africans are not our brothers. They sold us. Everybody was in on it. Esau, we got put on the boats, and now we're here serving them. Can't nobody get us out of this slavery. A lot of us are so broken, we don't want to be out of this slavery. And no, that's when it says no man shall buy you. Can't nobody get us out of it. Ain't no country that came running to our rescue. You know what I'm saying? Who's going to come to our rescue? If we're so African, there should be a country out there that say, whoa, 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 whoa. They're not going to treat them like this. We come to give us our citizens, or we coming to get them. There ain't nobody. Salaka, there's no country, because if you knock a Chinese person upside the head, the tribe of Moab, they have a country that you're not going to abuse your citizens over here. If saying anybody, they don't, and technically they don't abuse nobody else but us. They don't abuse you don't see no Arab getting abused by the police or by society. You know what I mean? So we're the only ones, because we don't have no backup. We won't come together under Christ, in the I.S.U.P.K, under Christ, under Commanding General YAHANNA, under Christ. So this and you know what? And also, just so I don't sound like, there is a way out of this. So we'll go to Deuteronomy 28. I'm going to read 1 and 2 to show you that, look, there's a flip side to this. It's not, okay, those are all the things that happened to us, and it's happening to us now because of our sin. Now, look at this. This is if we don't sin, if we're not sinful as a nation. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Verse 2, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So there is a flip side, and there's about 13, 14 verses after that shows what will happen to you if you just listen to the Most High, if you just follow his instructions. So nobody likes to be corrected. A lot of people don't like to be corrected, but correction is love. And I just want to show you that there is another way to live, and you don't have to be a sinner. And the seriousness of sin will get you, jammed up. And we've been jammed up as a people for over 400 years, at least, in this place. We ain't going to go past, America. We can go all the way back thousands of years. But you got to change your life and decide if you want to be living for the Most High, or do you want to live for Satan. And once you come to that conclusion, hopefully you choose the I.S.U.P.K under Commanding General YAHANNA, and we will teach you how not to be a stinking sinner. And that's it for today's class. Shalom.